that train rolling, and then right after we just have all mics open or open discussion. I don't know why I did that.
Right. So,
Thank you.
um,
So, with that being said, right, who are we
Wait,
to decide? I'm sorry. I'm
Taylor do
sorry,
his.
sorry.
Taylor didn't do his.
it's all right. Um, we've spoken about the good that could happen. I would like to touch on a bit of a topic about the bad that happens. So I wanted to answer Isaac's question. Um, when the hunters go out and they're hunter gathering and whatnot, one of them dies. His son's now left without a father who raises him. Obviously, the mother, he says. But those times, the villages really was a community. So he had uncles, he had brothers, he had role models that was like fathers. So as much as the mother played a part, so did the man figure. Um, Not to take anything away from that, but we've obviously come a long way from those times to the times that we live now. And one thing that I've asked women before, when you go through a relationship breakdown, you've got kids, the father's not about whether he's trying to have access or not. You're bad mouthing the father. There's a lot of he's a this, he's a that. You're with your girls and your people and your dickhead and this and that. Your son's hearing. That's a lot of hate. Your son decides he doesn't want to be like his dad. Already he's trying to not be like a man. Do you see the struggle? He's thinking, I can't be like my father. I've got to be different. How are you going to be different? You're going to try to do something that he didn't do by staying around. So some men get into relationship. It may be an abusive relationship, but for the love of God, they're going to stay because they don't want to be their father. Do you see the pressure? Some men grow up angry at their fathers because they hear so much one-sided stuff from the mother and they don't hear nothing from the dad, and they grow up being so angry, and that anger, as much as some women think that they're gaining something by teaching their son that or telling their son those things, their son then grows up to resent them, especially if they meet their father later on in their life and the father is like, well, it was your mom's fault, well, your mom pushed me out. Now it's like they're hating the mom, like, oh, it's because of you and all those things you were telling me, but it was your fault. Now there's a different type of anger and energy. Now he feels like he's lost both parents. it's it is so crazy the things that we allow ourselves to go down the roads, and it becomes a revolving door, a cycle that goes on to our kids, that goes on to their kids, and it's a lot of pain and emotion that's put into those type of situations there. I can relate with Raw because I too said, no, I don't want to be like my dad. That's when I was younger, before I actually started to get to know him. I was like, no, I want to be like him. I want to make sure I have a happy family. I I got older. I had my first child. I tried to do whatever I can. I sat around and played my part as much as I can, even when I knew things weren't right, because I just didn't want to be the reaction of what happened before. I didn't want to be like my father. I didn't want to have to repeat those same actions. I met my second baby mother and I told myself, this is going to work. It has to work because I can't have a broken house like that. I've already got a broken house with one child over there. I didn't want to repeat that same thing. So there was a lot of stress on me, a lot of pressure on me to do the right thing and play the right parts. But guess what? I've never spoken to a man. I've never spoken to my father. So I don't know what the right parts is. I don't know what the right thing is. So I'm going by what society says or what little bits I'm gathering from people here and there. Not only is it tearing me apart, it's having an effect on my kids. I do struggle with this aspect because I've asked women before, how do you expect to raise a king or raise a prince if you're always breaking down his king? If your child's always hearing the negativity from you and he's meant to look up to his father as a king, as a prince, you've already started to break him down. In his mind, he's thinking, raw, okay. So his first experience was a female and she says, you ain't shit and rah, rah, rah. Now he's like, raw, my dad weren't shit too. Now he's like, you know what, fuck it, I might as well not be shit. You get me? I might as well just take it out on every girl. Like every girl, I'm never gonna settle. I'm gonna be just like my dad, so I might as well just treat every girl the same. We are setting our kids up to fail when we do these things. We have relationships and our kids are in the middle. For the love of God, I don't understand why we let our emotions affect us so much that we reflect it onto our kids. I never talk to my daughters and tell them anything bad about their mum. If my daughter says, Dad, this happens and my mum done that and I couldn't understand, I'll be like, yeah, well, that's your mum. That's where I'm trying to draw the line. Yeah, well, that's your mum. Or, you know, if she says, oh, but you know what, Dad, I can't stand it. I say, yo, listen, you know what? It's your mum. Respect your mum. You will understand a bit more. I can't really comment on it, but you've got me here. So if you need me, you've got me for support. And that's how I start to deal with the manner now. That is my interaction with my child now. To know that whatever situation you argue with your mum and you're upset, Dad, I want to come and live with you. Like, I'm tired of this. I still let her know right now, the best place for you is to be around her. As a female, she's going to teach you everything that you need to know. And as your father, as a male, I'm going to give you that protection and love and show you things from a male perspective. So when you come across boys, you know what to stand for and what not to stand for. You know how a man should appreciate you and treat you rather than how getting into a situation and getting into abuse and feeling that, you know, it's right because you're in love. It's right because your emotions is heightened. So that's where I'm at with that. But there is still so many kids out in the community who, either mother or father, the other half is breaking down the bond that they're supposed to have with that parent. How do you expect that child to not become anything you don't want that child to become? You don't want that child to end up on the streets, but you're not giving him any potential. You don't want that girl to end up having a baby early and wrecking her whole life, but you're not giving her any potential. You're only taking away. When you teach your kids and tell your kids these type of things, I mean, if the father or the mother is abusing the child physically, really harming the child, I can understand you taking precautions. But when that is not happening, you're only destroying the child. And you sitting there thinking, yeah, look, nah, my child don't want to be around their dad. Yeah, good for him. He's going to... But that's not good for him because, yeah, it does hurt him. But he's going to move on. You're going to move on. Guess who don't move on? The child. And this is something that I see in the community, in our society today, that it's unbelievable how we even stand for it. Like, where did those times, where did it change? Where was it okay to disrespect and break down the other parent in front of your child? Some parents say, oh, they don't know what I'm talking about. They don't know what I'm going. Yes, they do know. Kids pick up very easily, very quickly. They're very intelligent. They do know. They can sense. They can feel your energy. I wish there was more that I knew that I could do knowledge-wise to teach others out there. And I guess this is one of the reasons probably why we're doing this video today.
Alright, now everybody can unmute their mics and we will just have open conversation. But please try not to over talk anybody while they're speaking.
Peace, love, and blessings, sunshine. How are you, Queen? Hi. Thank you for that sweet hello. Thank you for letting me up. I'm doing all right. I just got home. It was a crazy day at the restaurant. But I am doing well. I popped into this convo and I just I thought it was a really important conversation that I feel like most people don't like to have because obviously it's emotional, and as Ra said, emotions can be seen as weak and misinterpreted. But I am someone who really advocates for like expressing our emotions, and how vulnerability really does make us beautiful and makes us stronger. And just to like lastly touch on what you were just saying, like I 1,000% agree. It's not fair for one parent to talk down another parent. And as we're kids, it's not good to hear those type of things. But as we get older, I feel like obviously we are dealt with certain cards, and you know, certain we've all played with a set of cards that just fucking suck, and it's just like why do I have this deck? And sometimes we get stuck on asking ourselves, why do we have this set of cards? Why do we have this deck? And like sometimes we're set up to lose. But I think throughout life, we're constantly evolving and we constantly get new cards to add to our deck. And I just feel as though at one point you grow older and you recognize that your mother or your dad was just hurt and saying these things to you. And at one point you'll have enough cards and enough knowledge in your deck to be able to grow out of the setup that they once put you in, and to be able to recognize that what they said was hurtful and not necessarily true. And you have the power to release and to let go and to forgive what you don't know. Because if you don't know, there's no point of having hatred in your heart. And hatred in your heart is only just going to further take you away from living the life that you deserve to live, to be able to be happy. So I just feel as though sometimes we hold on to things because we're angry and because we don't know the answers. And in some way, it's easier. Especially when life goes shitty, it's like easier to have someone or something to blame. But at one point, we do have to look as to how we may be not blaming ourselves and take some responsibility into our lives. And yes, our parents probably fucked up in multiple ways, and they may continue to be fucking up. But at one point, you also have to see, well, how can I help myself? Because at the end of the day, like, we're, we got to do the best we can for each other.
Um, I think I'm gonna just go in by talking about the default setting of having to be a guy growing up with your mom. There's a default setting that you have to realize that every guy has to go through. Because there's a saying my grandma once told me. She said your mom is gonna raise you for the type of guy she would want. That's the best she could do as a person. She would raise you for the type of guy that she would want. If she wants super respectful, super submissive type of guys, that was who she would raise. If she wants super masculine, super defensive, super proud type of guy, that's who she would raise. Without no definition line on how to just be a plain male at first, you go off of what you're raised as. Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, would that be considered cultural, situational, or societal?
I don't think it's neither. That's the point of it. You see, in those factors, when we talk about those factors, right? We're raising for those three. You're raising a child for those three. Now, whatever road he chooses when he grows up, right? He will still have to handle all those trees. So there's a bad, and I always say, don't say all women with these factors, right? But there's an underlying hate, especially if you're a black guy. So I'm just going to talk about the black community real quick. There's an underlying hatred for men in the black community. There's bashed on the regular. bashment on the regular. And that's why I have felt from 16, 17, 18. Like, wow, these females really hate men. Song after song about how men ain't shit. Words after words about how men ain't shit. It, bashing after bashing after bashing after bashing after bashing. And with my already underlying hatred, it was like, understandable. Understandable. And now you have a self hate for yourself. So when somebody tells you you ain't shit, you play the role of not being shit.
Mm.
So women raise the men, they raise the demons that they soon dislike.
Mm.
They raise their own demons that they soon dislike. So the men most female raise, and most people talk about they dislike, the men that females say they dislike, moms, they had moms that were raised by females. Some of them were raised by males. But there's a cycle for it. There's a lineup for it. There will forever be a lineup for it. So as a mom, she's going to do the best what she could do. And again, this is not me taking away from the mom, because moms have an extremely long struggle, especially if you're a black mom raising a black son in a community like this, at this moment, at right now.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, bro. But for me, and like with Raw being vulnerable about it, cause and then with what Halo said, it was absolutely amazing, beautiful. I was over here crying. But I honestly feel like for me, raising a son, single parent, it's situational. And it's also according to the society because we're raising them in a different world. And then on top of it, what makes me think deeper into it, who decided that this is what makes a man? Who? Society made it that this is what makes a man. You gotta be tough and strong. I honestly feel like, for me personally, a man is sensitive, who's out there caring for his woman and not out here trying to be, like all tough and shit. Like, and that's how I feel personally that a man should be. He should definitely be in touch with his feminine side in order to relate to his other half, right? Because, right? Mm-hmm. We're supposed to be a part of the red, so we should be able to relate. Mm-hmm. Am I tripping? I don't know. I'm gonna mute myself because
that makes sense. That's a fact.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself. Somebody take over.
I personally feel, if you're surrounded by women, how do you know how to be a man? The only male figure I had was a guy who was raised by all my aunts. So he's more feminine than my flipping aunts. Yeah? He spends more time in the bathroom than all of my aunts put together. That's no joke. Yeah? So he was not a very positive role model. Also, he was the person who sold me my first fucking draw and shit. Like, he was a negative influence completely. He lives to this day. Yeah? But he's the only real model that I've gone to when I've had issues, because he's the only one I can be on that level. He's known me since I was young. Yeah? So, you do look up and see how you're meant to be, what you're meant to be. You compare yourself to others, your deficiencies and your strengths. And when you do that, you want to be like other people. You don't want to be who you are. If you're not getting what you want, you're not satisfied. So you have to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself. So I was constantly searching for a positive role model, and it turned out to be everyone's out for themselves, which is the model of male.
The crazy thing is, who are you proving yourself to?
To myself.
I topic real quick. What I said, you're supposed to be sensitive and what you said, what my mom said, but not how the world works.
It isn't. It is. You are completely right. It's not like how the world works.
Because when my mom told me that, I just thought, okay, it's okay to cry then. So when I feel hurt, I just used to cry. Like, just used to play cry. You just used to break
But
down.
society is against you.
Exactly. And when I would pour my heart out with tears to a female, they'll be like, okay, this crying shit, this yeah, is not cute.
Because society said that's not being a man.
Yeah, but remember,
But we live in
at the end of the
society.
day,
I think.
yeah, but that's what we live in.
Sorry.
So go against the fucking grain. Like, I feel like in order to be happy, we need not to be in society. Go against the grain and be the way that we are naturally supposed to be. Peace, love, balance, happiness, you know?
The thing is, we have to live in it and get a female in it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. Go ahead, Sunshine. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I just, the only thing against regarding besides going against the grain, it's like if you're with a female and you cry and you show your vulnerability to her and she laughs or she's like ugh or she's turned off or she's like this is not like what a man does, then you know that's not your woman. You need someone who's emotionally mature and who's going to appreciate that, not devalue it. And if you are with someone who does that, you are looking for the wrong type of female.
And that's the maturity.
Yeah, you have to recognize, okay, this girl is just not for me. This is not what I'm at. This is not what I'm looking for. It's definitely hard to find, just as there's hard to find men that do other things. But, you know, it's an act. It's a balancing act, and it's hard. But don't feel as though every woman will look at you and be like, "Oh, he's gonna cry."
And then, by you being raised by a female who taught you that, she's setting you up for a life partner, not for failure.
Hold on. I gotta kind of flip that. Y'all saying that like by the time we get there, we the same people. When you first go into a relationship as a boy, which is between the approximation probably if you date early 14, 15, right? If you date late 16, 17, we go in with your knowledge, right?
From a single mother's knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Got you.
Now we get hit.
Mm-hmm.
We get hit. That hurt. We go, oh no, we ain't trying to feel that again. Now we try it again. We get hit. Now we're going. You know what? This ain't working out for me. So now I'm on default. When I'm talking for myself, I want to talk about my first relationship, right?
Okay.
What made me me? Now, eyes know me and Halo know me. I'm considered an asshole now, but I wasn't always like this. Of course, I was raised with my mom to love, show emotion, and all that. But when I met my first female, that's exactly what I thought. I was focusing on her so much that at 14, 15, I was thinking of marriage. That was what my eyesight was on, because that's what my mom taught me to do, you know? If you love her strongly enough, if you show her the amount of kindness, if you be the best gentleman out there, you know what I'm saying? This person will love you with all that, all that. It did not work out. And I remember her breaking up with me. She just disappeared. Stopped calling me, stopped texting me. And the inside pain I felt, I couldn't even talk to my mom about it. So I was just in pain by myself. It's not something you could go to your mom and talk about. Because you don't want to hear now it's gonna be okay, honey. You don't want to talk about don't change it, be yourself. We don't want to hear that right now. We want a different level of it. So now when y'all talking about now find this other female, we're not the same by the time we go down the line. We went back to default settings and we made ourselves by what protects me now. Who I am right now is what protects me and how I move and how I act. I think of me. I made my own type of man, and that's why you see so much different type of men. They make their own off their handles, they pain, and each pain comes with different outcomes. My pain was a reaction to the truth. So right now I'm openly truthful, sometimes harshly truthful. Sometimes I say stuff that I cannot take back. But because every female I met was for me harshly truthful. So when I was also still trying to be respectful, they would still disrespect me. So I was like, okay. And now I started seeing them factors in my own mom. When I would try to talk to my mom as an adult now, you know what I'm saying? And I would go, like, okay, this in the case, she will still come at me from that standpoint. And I'll go, okay, this standpoint is wrong. But as a mom, they're still gonna go, hey, I'm the mom here. What I say goes. So I understand y'all talking about waiting for the, and is she not married? By the time we get there, we not the same man we was. The belief in love is not a string. The belief in it, the physical of it, the mentality of it, we somebody else.
Can I say
That's
something?
also a choice you were making.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say is like that's a choice that you are making and you're limiting yourself to that. Like obviously there's going to be pain when you break up with someone who does like who's rude, who was mean, who like or whatever the situation is, there's always going to be pain. You've got to heal and you have to do what's right to make you whole again, to make you happy again. And again, it's hard to heal. It takes time. And I'm not saying you're gonna wait around for this person because if you don't work on yourself and heal, that person's not going to just show up. So, I mean, I think there's just, you know, obviously you're not the same person as each experience and each you know, each relationship you go through will tear you a little, but at the same time, there's a lot of healing that doesn't get done, and that people then are like, why is this happening, or why, like, why, and it's like, why aren't we questioning what are we doing to feel better and to be?
I have this amazing question.
One second.